Hello and welcome to the Endurance Performance Open Learning Show. My name is Ron George. I'm a professional cycling and running coach based in Dubai. And in my free time, I enjoy speaking to some of the movers and shakers in the Indian endurance sports scene and try to make good YouTube videos out of it. Today's guest is a special one. Some of you may not know his background in cycling and how he got started. Like many students who aspire to go to the United States, he applied into the aerospace engineering program at Cornell and moved to the United States, um, and then found out that he loved cycling when he joined a long distance bike tour that went all across the United States, around 4,000 miles. He decided he wanted to pursue graduate studies and his PhD, and so applied to none other than Stanford. During this time, he also dabbled a little in triathlon. Unfortunately, the running bit proved to be a setback, so he decided to fall back on cycling. Fast forward to 2019 when the lockdown happened in the United States, and he had to find a way to keep his fitness up, so he started Zwifting. When a teammate introduced him to the whole concept of Zwift racing and strategizing and doing tactics all online, he was hooked. And in a span of 1 to 1.5 years, he uh, honed his Zwift racing pedigree and currently stands as the number one Indian Zwift racer. He has a Zwift power statistics that would make anyone envious. Gentlemen, please welcome Jayant Mukhopadhaya from California. Hi, Jayant. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, yes, very, very good. I'm usually very, very strict with my timings, getting up for Zwift races, but today slept in a little bit extra.
It's
Yesterday
fine. It's still very early.
we had a team time trial, and I had a long night actually apartment hunting, so came back quite late and decided to take my liberty with that. But cool. All right, nice to have you here, Giant. You're calling from California.
hmm
Santa Clara, is it? You're in Stanford.
Uh, yeah, I'm in Menlo Park. It's
Menlo Park. Okay.
right near the Stanford campus.
Okay, that's awesome. So, uh, Jayant, you are a household name in Zwift racing. But I guess many people uh, don't know your other extensive background in cycling. So
Mhm.
today we are here to speak about that actually, and I'm quite curious myself about how you got into cycling and how you made the transition into Zwift.
Mhm.
So could you just walk us through how this all began for you? Mainly the love and the passion for cycling, and then then how you got into Zwift. So
Yeah,
take us through that
yeah,
journey.
yeah. I mean, it started for me like it does for many people with a little secondhand bike in my college town, trying to explore. I was there over the summer, so all my friends had left, and I was working in a lab, and so I tried to explore all the areas it, around Ithaca. This is this absolutely gorgeous place with
Hmm.
waterfalls and
Yeah.
waterfalls. Basically, at least four or five waterfalls that you can walk to. Waterfalls that I would walk by every day while going to school. So that sort of got me started into cycling. And then slowly I started doing longer and longer rides because I enjoyed it, and I would enjoy being out there
What
by
what
myself and just.
sorry, what time frame was this, Jayant? Is this
So this was a
2017,
yeah.
2018?
No, this is a little bit earlier than that. This is like 2014. Uh,
2014. Okay.
yeah, this was my last year of
Hmm.
undergrad education. Uh,
Okay.
and
So let me guess, were you in Cornell or
yeah, yeah,
okay. So you
yeah.
you were an undergrad in Cornell, but before that, where were you?
Before that, I was in India. Went
Ah,
to high school in India. Went to Doon
okay.
school in India.
So nice, nice. So you went to the Dune School, wrote your SATs, MCATs, whatever. and you got
Yeah.
accepted right into Cornell, which is yeah, good
Ah,
school. I've been to many places upstate New York, so
mm,
I totally agree. Very beautiful places out there. I know
yeah.
Cornell is ups and downs. Yeah, nice topology.
Yeah.
So a lot of good cycling routes as well. So you were in Cornell, good, and then that's how you discovered cycling with the second-hand Schwinn bike.
Yeah.
um, okay, what happened after that?
Yeah. So that happened, and then I was figuring out what I'm going to do afterwards, and I got into grad school. And I had these 3 months in between undergrad and graduate school, and I was trying to not work. Basically, I didn't want to do an internship because it had been 4 years of constant work for a while. And so then I started looking at bike tours, and I found this one company that did as a charity called Bike and Build. They would organize multiple bike tours across the country,
Okay.
raising money for affordable housing and sort of building along the way. So we would stop at towns and then work with these Habitat for Humanity, for example, and actually build houses for
Mm.
people, which is really
Yeah,
was really fun. Yeah,
yeah.
and
The bike and build. I've heard about that. Even Buffalo bikes. I don't know Buffalo bikes. You've heard about
mm,
Buffalo bikes.
I think so. Yeah,
When I was in the U.S. Also doing my college, like you, I had to find a way to network, and like got into a cycling club there in college in Buffalo, and they were doing something very similar. I had a little
yeah.
program for
Buffalo's very
Buffalo
close to
bikes.
well, close-ish to Ithaca in that area. Yeah,
Yeah,
upstate New York.
Habitat for Humanity also very popular among students in college campuses. This is a good
Yeah,
place to network, right? I mean, otherwise, what is a student from India to do otherwise? How to network? Of course, you can go to
yeah.
clubs and party and all that, but we're a bit more cerebral than that.
So, but
um,
yeah, no.
so bike and build, cool. And did you end up doing the bike tour?
Yeah, I did. It took 10 weeks. We covered about 4,000 miles. Uh,
Wow.
averaged about 73 miles a day. Uh, the beginning was the hardest part because I was getting used to
Okay.
every day getting on the bike, biking about 70 miles.
So I'm
Um,
guessing back then you weren't so concerned about your watt per kilo, it's just surviving
no,
70 miles a
yeah,
day.
we
um,
would start early in the morning as soon
okay.
as it was light out, basically, and then
Yeah.
try and get to the next host by like 4 p.m. before traffic got bad.
Okay. And this was just upstate New York or crisscrossing New
And
York or into Pennsylvania or what? Or the
this was
entire country?
across the country.
Oh, this is
So
across the
went from
country. Nice.
yeah, went from Maine in the northeast to Santa
Hmm.
Barbara in California, the ending
Wow.
point.
That's
So
amazing. So you had a little taste of what the RAM races do go through.
oh, a very very mild taste of what they
Mild
do
taste,
in
yeah.
a couple of days that I took 10 weeks to do. But yes,
Amazing experience. That would have changed everything you felt about cycling, probably. And then,
yeah, and
y-
you get to
so,
see. It's a great way to just explore an area too, because
hmm
you're much slower than a car. You get to meet more people, see more things.
hmm
Saw parts of the U.S. that I probably would never see and probably won't see ever again. So it was quite an experience.
absolutely. There's just something different to experiencing roads, counties, villages on a bike. Car, you don't even drive through country roads that much unless you really needed to. You're mostly on the highway in the US
Yeah.
doing interstate travel. But yeah, absolutely agree. It's totally different way to see the country. Um, and you probably made a lot of friends, right, Giant?
Yeah, made a lot of friends and basically found my love for cycling in those 10
Yeah,
weeks. Um,
amazing. Amazing.
luckily, one of the guys on that trip was also at Stanford. So then I would just, he just showed me all the biking around in this area and I fell in love because man, California, this area, the Bay Area is probably one of the best places in the US to be biking at least.
Mm,
And so
sure.
it takes me 10 minutes to get into the hills and there's lots of hills and
So hang on, I'm trying to connect the dots here. So
Mhm.
Cornell, you passed out in 20, when was
15.
it? 2015, and then
Mhm.
you went to Stanford. Did you apply anywhere else, or you knew you wanted to go to Stanford?
No, I applied to a couple of places. Stanford was the one that I finally decided on because
Hmm.
they did their visit day in the middle of March, where it
Okay.
was it
Ah,
was snowstorming in Ithaca, and I come here
so
and
you
it's
wanted to
like
get away.
beautiful sunny weather. Uh, so yeah, they had the main decision was between Stanford and MIT, and the weather really sold it for me. Not going to lie.
So, so tell us, for some of us mortals, we don't understand totally, what it takes to get into Stanford. How did you get in there? Was it your something you did in school? Did you, I don't know, your grades, or did you have something about some research interest that
Yeah.
attracted you there? What was it?
Well, I wanted to do aerospace engineering. Um, Stanford has one of the best
Okay.
programs, so
Uh,
therefore applying was a no-brainer.
mm,
Uh, what I had really good grades. I had pretty good grades in undergrad, so that
4.0.
was yeah, yeah. So that wasn't a barrier. Uh, and yeah, I did research in undergrad. I knew I wanted to do a PhD. I uh,
Okay.
talked to, I mean, talked to as many professors as I could. Uh, got nice recommendations written. Got my uh, statement of purpose drafted like 10 to 12 times or something
Wow.
uh, before I was ready for
Mm,
the application. And all of those things definitely added up uh, to get me accepted, which is really nice.
amazing. Your parents must have been quite proud when you delivered the news. Was it like,
I
remember like Mark Zuckerberg? There are YouTube videos of him looking at the computer, reading his acceptance letter from Harvard, and his dad standing behind, and he reads it like, his dad knew that he had gotten it, but he just wanted to capture his reaction. Was it something like that where you like, jump
yeah,
around in joy when you got the letter?
it was. I distinctly remember this actually because I was in India at the time. I was in my room. It was like 1:30 a.m. So I was up late, uh, and I was just about to go to sleep. I get this email, and the email subject doesn't even say anything. It just says like
Hmm.
Stanford visit day. So I was like, oh, I guess I should visit
Are
Stanford if
you
I can.
serious? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the first line is like, congratulations, you got into Stanford. So I'm like double taking. I'm like, is this real? Did they just forget to
Wow.
mention it in the subject line of the
Stanford, if you're listening
uh,
to this, you got to improve, man.
I know. It was 1:30, but I woke up my parents and told them
Mm.
that yeah, I got into Stanford, and then there were tears, there was happiness, there was joy, and
Your parents at the time in India or in Ithaca?
yeah, they were in India with me,
They were
so
in
I
India.
was in
Okay.
India, so I
You
just
were
I
in
just
India.
hopped
Okay.
over to exactly.
So you had gone for what, vacation or break,
Yeah, it
and
was
that's
winter
why
break.
it was winter break, and you got the letter while you were in India, 1:30
Yeah,
a.m.
exactly.
Ah, okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense. So you were not in Ithaca reading your emails at 1:30 a.m.
No, it
Okay.
was it was probably like mid afternoon in
Yeah. Yeah.
California,
Yeah,
and
wow. So you got a nondescript, pretty nondescript email. It says visit California, and inside the email it says, congrats.
congratulations. Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty funny. Cool. So immediately you probably made plans to go back,
Yeah,
and start the term when I think September, fall.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
September is when we started. So my bike trip was from June to September, and then that's how I moved across the country was on bike,
Yeah. Yeah.
and got my the rest of my stuff shipped, and I started at Stanford, and it was yeah, and so back to biking history. Um, then I started biking around here, and I was in high school. I did a little bit of running, so I had running and biking. I'm like, may as well do a third sport, and uh, do triathlons. I was
Mm.
terrible at swimming because I never learned as a kid. Um, but the triathlon team was really nice at Stanford, and they were open to all levels, and the coaches were super nice. So I learned how to swim, got better at it, and moved up the distances. Did sprints to begin with, Olympics, and then half Ironman. Uh, because I was not very good at swimming, I was never really like super competitive. Uh, but I would post good uh, bike and run splits, and then as happens to a lot of people, running started injuring me,
Mm.
um, and so it became a little bit less fun. And then I just decided to switch to
So
cycling.
I mean that's great, but when you're in Stanford, how do you find the time to do all this? Or is it something about high achievers? They just know how to manage their time. Triathlon, I don't know. Is this something? The last thing I would think of when I'm in Stanford, I got so much to do. So many credit hours. How did you manage everything, especially with three
It was
sports and studies? And
yeah, it was honestly having a team was like a huge part of it. I
uh-huh.
wouldn't have been able to motivate myself to work out every day if it
Yeah.
hadn't been for a team that was holding me,
Yeah.
not holding me responsible, but that was there to like suffer along with me every morning at I don't know 7 a.m. usually.
Mm.
Uh, and yeah, and you find time. You cut out some of the extraneous things that you would have been doing.
Mm.
Uh, don't play as many video games. Don't watch as much TV.
So
Uh,
you were not going to parties. You were doing
uh,
triathlons in your free time.
no, you still find time. You need to relax so
Yeah.
that you still have uh, time for that. I had a really good group of friends that I made here, so we would hang out, and it was. I mean, you early mornings, no one's doing anything, so that was my time to
Mm.
uh, work out.
Wow. Amazing. So within what would you say, maybe a year or two, you were doing Olympic distance?
Yeah,
Um,
about 2 years it took me to move up to Olympic distances, and then the third year, a group of my friends. So there were three of us that were really close. That we did the triathlon team together. We
okay.
set a we set a challenge. Basically, every time someone missed a morning workout, there would be like $2 or $3 that would go into this money pot, and then at the end of like once we finish our nationals uh, race, then we can use that for something. And so that kept us on the ball. Like we were there for every single workout. I
Mm.
think over the year, the money pot grew to like maybe $50. That was like maybe, yeah, 10 or 12 practices missed over
Mm.
three of us. So
Yeah.
it was, that definitely kept me on, on target and got me very fit at that time.
So you guys, sorry, you said nationals, the National
Mhm.
Collegiate Triathlon competition,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. National
okay,
Collegiate Triathlon competitions. Yeah,
wow. So this is not like Western Conference. You're talking about the whole of US
yeah. So we
nationals.
traveled to Alabama one time, and then one time to New Mexico, which was
Mm.
uh, the two nationals that I went to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very, very cool. And
had some very fast people. Very
so,
fast.
okay, trying to connect the dots again. You were not
Mhm.
riding your Schwinn bike, I suppose. Then you
No,
would have gotten rid of it. What bike were you on during
so
those days?
this was a steel touring bike actually. This was where I was. So still not a very fast bike, but
So
this
you were
was the
doing
bike that
triathlon.
took me across. Yeah,
So triathlons on steel touring bike.
yeah. It was a Trek
Wow.
520, that
Okay.
trusty old
Huh. Okay.
round tubes and nice and
So you weren't
heavy.
you weren't blowing parents' hard-earned money on bikes. That's nice.
No,
It's
no.
just you made do with what you had.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool. So
I
did you fit aero bars to it and just adjust? Yeah.
yeah, I borrowed aerobars from, well, actually no, I ended up buying aerobars eventually,
Hmm.
and then just dial in the position and
Okay.
try and hold it for as long as possible.
Yeah. Uh, what did it have toe clips or?
No, I did have I had mountain bike pedals on it, but Yeah,
Mm. Oh, buddy, those mountain bike pedals are awesome. Best
yeah,
thing ever. I mean, you can walk into a coffee shop without having to slip and fall. I love
true.
the
Or like,
SPD, Shimano SPD, man. That's the way to go.
you don't have to walk like a penguin
No,
into
no,
those.
I absolutely. I'm when I got into cycling as well. Those were my first pair of pedals, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's just the whole double-sided clicking thing and everything. Just love it. I think it's still one of the probably the best-selling pedal ever
yeah.
made. Awesome, awesome. So Olympic distance, yeah, nationals. You did two of them, two races. How did you do with the team? Um, how were the standings? Did you just go in for
So,
the experience?
so the we as a team we had like two really fast people, and they were I think top. Both of them were like top 15 or so.
Hmm,
Yeah, on the national scale. Uh, I think I ended up being 60th or 80th or something, but within the team I was probably like third or fourth fastest.
sure.
Um,
Okay, just to
and
give audience perspective, what was your finishing time for triathlon Olympic? What were you doing under?
I want to say I don't know off the top of my head, but it was in the
Roughly
140 140
140.
range, I think. Yeah.
140 for Olympic. Okay. Um, and then okay, so but you finished 60th, but it was a combined effort, a team effort. Yeah,
Yeah.
cumulative results are pretty good, you would say. Yeah.
We were, I think as a team we were probably middle of the road.
Uh
Uh,
huh.
the teams that win usually are University of Colorado or like the US
Hmm.
Army.
Sure.
Uh,
Those guys have a lot of time to
mainly
train.
and they're coming down from elevation and all that. And
Yeah.
they're just all super strong, super strong.
Those army guys are good athletes, and they've got everything taken care of for them, right? They're being paid to go there, so all they got to do is train. um, okay, wow, wonderful. And then did you climb? End up doing the half? You said you.
Yeah, I did two half Ironman
Oh
distances.
wow. Okay.
One actual half Ironman, like as in organized by the Ironman
Sure.
organization. That one,
Okay.
that one was bad. I went. So I had
The f-
a
the
goal
first one.
of, yeah, the first one. I had a goal of finishing under 4:45.
Ah.
Um, my swim went really well.
Yeah.
Uh, I was below my time. My bike split, I was aiming for, I think, 2 hours 15,
Hmm.
and I was just slightly over that. But I had pushed. I was already on running on fumes by the end of the bike
Hmm.
race. I did not. I would. It's like at the time I wasn't eating as much as I do now on the bike. Um, and then the half marathon just absolutely crushed me,
Yeah.
crushed my soul. It was. I was walking for probably 10 miles of it. It
Under
was not really.
under 215 for biking. What's that? I think 38, 39, right? kph
Mm,
average. So then when
mm,
yeah, that would have been yeah, to do that alone without a draft, that have been
yeah,
pretty significant. Then getting on the run. What were you shooting for with running?
I was shooting for 145 at the end of that.
Ooh,
Uh,
wow. So
to
145. That's pretty nice.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah. So you bonked.
the ambitious
Oh,
targets. Yeah, they were ambitious targets.
but that's yeah. Part of this whole thing is just going in naive and learning. It's and that's how you learn. And your second and third ones become
Much
probably much
better.
better. So how was the second one?
The second one was a lot more fun. It was actually, this is the shirt I'm wearing. It's the
Ah,
wildflower. Uh,
okay.
is a really fun race because everyone camps and it's just like a party. Everyone's like out
Ah,
there.
okay.
There's music playing and dancing and things like that.
Okay.
Um,
This is
and
like
so
this is like the Burning Man festival of triathlon, somewhat like
they, yeah,
that.
they market themselves as the Woodstock of triathlons.
Whoa, look. See, I was on the money almost. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Yeah, and and that one was a lot better. It was hillier, so it was a little more challenging. I took it a little more easy, a little easier on the bike,
Hmm.
and the run was a lot of trail running, which is really nice because yeah, I don't know, it keeps the mind a little bit more
Sure. Yeah.
uh, involved.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, towards the end of that, I was still hurting, but I was able to get. I think I shaved like 2 hours of my previous time or something, so it was nice.
When you say hurting, I mean, what did you end up injuring? Your knee or tendon? What?
So I mean, hurting at the end of this meant like my
Ah.
muscles were just tired, like I
Oh.
was
Okay. So
close to
you
cramping, and
so you didn't meet with an injury then for running. You were fine. You were enjoying it.
yeah, I was still enjoying it. And then I started, and then I started getting knee pain basically,
Hmm.
um, and it it kept recurring. I would wait for a while, it would get better, and then it would happen again. And so that's
Was it
when.
to the side of the knee or the front of the knee?
So it was the front of the knee,
Front of the knee. Okay.
and yeah, and I was going to a physiotherapist, trying to work through it, and it was a lot of my legs were not strong enough, so I had to do lots of deadlifts and squats
Yes.
to get my
Yes.
muscle up to. Um,
Yes.
but in the end, it didn't really, like, it made it better, but it was still residual. And then I
Hmm.
think personally in my head also, I was like, this is not as much fun now because I'm always
Hmm.
very careful about it. Um, and so
Right.
that's when I sort of
You had to
took a
make
step
a
back from
call.
triathlon.
Yeah, you had to make a call, and okay, running is not for me, so I can't do triathlon. Did you investigate duathlon by any chance, or?
Yeah, swimming was never. I was
Sorry,
never
not
good at swimming.
not yeah, not duathlon. I guess they would call it aquathlon, maybe.
Yeah,
Because swimming
aquathlons.
as
Yeah,
aquathlon. I don't know if
yeah.
aquathlon is big in California.
There's some, but yeah,
Okay. So okay, cool. So running then gets to the back burner. Then you're focusing more onto cycling. So this is what I guess our viewers want to hear is how you got into Zwift and
yeah,
made your way to the top there. So talk us through that experience.
yeah. I mean, I got on Zwift like many people did when COVID happened. Uh,
Ah,
when the pandemic restrictions here in California, they instituted like a 5 mile radius that you could bike from your house for a while. And so,
wow.
and I did a couple of 5 mile like rides within that, like doing little loops, and it was miserable. So then I decided to buy a trainer. I got the Kicker Core, and yeah, I started. And this was my first source of power uh, for cycling, and so that was a whole new uh,
Ah, okay.
Pandora's box that opened up because of that. Um,
Pandora's box.
yeah, I mean, I like did my
Are you
first.
talking about the dual recording aspects and all that?
Oh gosh, not yet. That comes later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Those, but it meant like I like the second day of that I had it, I did a FTP test. Uh, I remember it was, I think, 257 watts or something was my FTP at the time.
Okay, okay.
Um, and that was when I was, I think, 70 kilos.
Hmm.
Um, and then I got into Zwift. I thought I was gonna hate indoor riding because I love being able to see everything outside. But Zwift really, I mean, the engagement was there, and being able to ride with other people was
It was amazing,
absolutely
wasn't it?
fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really was. So I
Were
started with
you,
a
were you able to ride with some of your past friends, your club
yeah.
members, or?
So yeah, so they would do. I think once a week they would do coffee rides where everyone would get on Zwift or something, and then uh, there would be a Zoom meeting going on the side, and you just chat and roll through Watopia, and then you get off your bike, make yourself coffee, and then have coffee with your friends.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that was
yeah.
really nice.
The club
Uh,
is Pen Velo, right, Giant? Pen Velo.
yes, Ben
Pen
Bello.
Velo. So you were cycling with Pen Velo. This is a cycling club in that area.
Mm,
And then when lockdown happened, they started doing rides on Zwift, and you used to join them.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
okay.
so I was doing this USA Cycling organized series, uh, where
Yeah.
one of these Benvelo guys was also there, and
Okay.
he saw me, saw that I was in Menlo Park, and so he reached out, and then I joined, and now I've been racing with them. I raced 3 seasons of ZRL,
Sure.
with the Penvelo A team, and yeah. So also a little bit before that, I started training. I started doing structured training through because now I had power to go off of.
Yeah.
I was just using whatever the Zwift workouts were available here and there,
Mm-hmm.
and then ZRL started, and that was amazing. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely loved ZRL because
Mm.
then I was on Discord with all my with my teammates talking through strategy, working through
Yeah.
what's coming up. Like, oh, watch out, there's like a 5 minute effort coming up,
Yeah.
um, and that aspect it felt like I was riding with people,
Mm-hmm.
but at home during a pandemic. So that was key. Um, and having that team and having that racing every week was tiring, but it was really good.
So one thing, Jan, before you got into Zwift, actually, were you racing or had you raced at all with Penwell, or was it just group rides and stuff?
No, nothing. Yeah, I'd done a couple of group rides. I hadn't really associated myself with them at all,
Okay.
so it was only on Zwift. So it was a virtual team
Ah,
first for me,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then now I start riding with them and racing with them in person.
Got you, got you. So actually, you got introduced to them through Zwift, not
Yeah,
in real life before that.
yeah.
Um, so that's amazing. I mean, you talked about ZRL, but probably our viewers have no idea what ZRL is. But
Oh, yeah.
let's just, I mean, Giant, you are on Zwift. Anyone can look up your profile, by the way. And if
Mhm.
I do that, um, if I go to Zwift Power and I search for your name, and I can then go to your Zwift Power profile, which
Yeah,
if you are a Zwift racer, you should have a profile, by the way, guys. So Giant has one. Giant has 148 races to his credit, and his
yeah,
minimum category now at the moment is he's an A. He's an A, which is like I think one before the top level, right? It's A plus is the
yeah,
highest in this echelon. A is just a little under, but he's got 148 races since. So you're saying pandemic, so 2020 onwards, right? Not late to 2019, 2020, right?
uh,
2020,
2019. No,
2019.
2019.
Okay, okay. So
Mid
uh,
2019 is about when I started.
so almost yeah, more than one and a
Almost
half
2 years.
years,
2 years.
almost 2 years. So 148 races. So at the moment, Giant is the top ranked. I mean, if you look at by nationality, if you filter it down, Giant is the top ranking Indian Zwift racer at the moment, and no one is even close. So that's amazing, Giant.
Yeah,
I mean, it would have been very addictive. Well, as you saw, you were improving and getting and getting those FTP boosts.
yeah.
You just kept racing. Yeah, I mean, to get this many races in this period, what would you say? Were you racing like every 2 days or?
Yeah, for a while I was racing. In the beginning, I was racing basically every time I got on Zwift, which was
Wow.
about 4 times a week because
Yeah, yeah,
there was nothing else. I was like, okay, let's just get on Zwift
yeah,
and race.
yeah.
I feel like a lot of people do that just begin with. They immediately get hooked onto racing, and that's what they do. Uh, and that started getting tiring. And then once VRL started, Zwift Racing League, which is
Hmm.
like which is the biggest organized racing league on Zwift.
Yeah.
Um, and then I had a little more structure where I was doing at least that race, and then I would do one more usually with my team uh, later in the week or something. And then tried to I limited myself to 2 races a week
Mm-hmm.
because more than that is a little bit unsustainable.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, and the way the Zwift rankings work is the more races you do with better ranking people,
Mm-hmm.
the better your rank gets as well.
Correct.
So I was fortunate that I'm a grad student, so my schedule is flexible. So I can race in the middle of the day. So I can race at 10 a.m., which is when all the EME, like all of Europe is racing, which is the
Yeah.
most competitive
Yeah.
Zwift area.
Yeah.
And so I was able to hold my own, hold the pack as much as possible, and get better and better placings. I worked on my sprint a lot.
Hmm.
I From form sprints to
Yeah.
outside sprints,
Yeah.
just being able to spin the uh, cranks
Hmm.
as fast as possible.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
yeah, once you need a sprint on Zwift,
Absolutely.
there's no question about it. And so once that happened, then I really started shooting up the ranks. Um, and
In Zwift, yeah, in Zwift racing for some of our viewers, it's extremely hard to do some ballsy maneuver like go on a breakaway. It just doesn't happen really. Most of the time, you end up in a bunch sprint, and if you want to win the race, you need to have a sprint with you.
yeah,
So Jayant is right. Yeah, you need to train your sprint. Um,
specifically also in general for any of these races, you have to be able to stick with the group, which
yeah.
means, and the features on these courses are usually somewhere between 1 minute to maybe 5 minutes long.
Hmm.
So if you have a good 1 to 5 minute sort of watts per kg, then that's the ideal Zwift racer, is
Hmm.
someone who has high watts per kg in 1 to 5 minutes and then a really good sprint,
So let's talk
basically.
about your watts per kg here. I mean, in Zwift Power, you see everything. Your I won't talk about your watts. Maybe people can go and look up at it. But 1 minute, your stats of 1 minute, 8.48 watt per kilo. In 5 minutes, 5.93 watt per kilo. And your 20-minute power is 4.74 watt per kilo. So quite very respectable numbers. I mean, Jayant, have you thought about this? If you actually went and tried for the Indian national competition back home,
Yeah.
you'd probably do well in a
I mean,
maybe in
that's,
a bun sprint.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that is definitely one of my goals.
Yeah, yeah.
The next, so I couldn't make it to the previous one. I thought about it, but between
Mm.
COVID and me graduating pretty soon after that, I couldn't make it to the nationals this year.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I'm definitely gonna make it next year, and hopefully be able to do something.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, the way things are organized in India, there's no set schedule, fixed timings where you can just plan your vacation and go. It's all it happens last minute, so it is going to be a challenge. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, my hope is you can try out. Go for the tryouts at least. But I think you'll have to start at your district level first, which I think you will ace very
yeah.
easily with these numbers. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think you should try out with something like this. I mean, what I'm thinking right now is that the famous I think this is from the Joe Friel book, the cycling the cyclist training Bible, where he shows the table of uh, what kilo for different categories and different abilities, and I can already see you're you know pretty pretty up there, decent stats.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I've been genetically gifted, which is nice. And
yeah, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you didn't struggle a lot. It seems like. I mean, I mean, for a lot of Zwift races, getting even to a level B from a C takes a lot of effort. You quickly made it up to an A, so there was something working in your favor. Um, and we didn't touch
yeah,
upon that. But when you were cycling actually for the first time, did you feel that this is coming to you easy? Um, did you feel like you had that natural endurance in you to go on
it's
long distance? What?
I I can't say I felt it when I was starting.
Yeah, yeah,
I guess I just enjoyed it, probably because it wasn't too hard for me.
yeah.
Uh, I think part of it was having a reasonable. So I mean, I was I was a chubby kid when I was
Mm.
in
Okay.
I don't know, like ninth, 10th grade,
Yeah.
uh, and then I started running and lost a bunch of weight, and then so that was when my athleticism started. So
Mm.
it started early enough that I had a little more growing to do, and so I think my body adapted a little bit to that. Um, and and so I think that came back, and then I mean, going on a bike tour, that was 10 weeks of pure endurance training.
Yeah.
Um, that I that definitely built up a really good base. And I mean, yeah. So like my first FTP test was 257 watts. Like
Yeah.
that's a big number for and I mean I can't say I wasn't untrained cyclist. I did do a lot of biking when I was here. Like there's really good biking around here, and I was
Hmm.
constantly getting better.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that definitely played into it. But yes,
So
having a very high floor definitely helped.
a high ceiling helped, yeah, and
Yeah,
you had that undeveloped ceiling, which you then sharpened with
push. Yeah,
cycling and then racing. Um, that's yeah, that's I mean, usually something like that has to happen to see these kind of stats for sure. Um, how so? How did you? I mean, you're associated. We both are as core team members in ISRT. Actually, we 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 met each other during the pandemic. Even I got into this whole thing during the pandemic. If that hadn't happened, I don't think I would have ever um, bought a trainer and started doing Zwifting myself. But we met uh, through the early efforts of Mayank and Raj to put this platform together. I think in
mhm.
20 was it early 2020 or mid 2020, something like that. But we met through Discord,
back when back
and
when we were like 10 members.
back when
Yeah,
there were back when there were 10 members, and we thought of a group putting together some kind of group ride every Sunday, and Mayank had also some plans to race as a group every now and then. Yeah, very small team then, but how did you? Uh, I mean, did Mayank approach you? He probably must have seen that you were doing very well on Zwift. Did he approach you personally? Hey, come on, join us. Was a conversation like
yeah.
that, or
That's all he had to say. Was
okay?
he approached me on Facebook and he's like, we're trying to build up a Indian esports racing
Mm,
team,
mm,
and I immediately jumped on board because like I said, I started cycling in the US, so uh, I have zero known people in the cycling scene in India, and
yeah,
I've always wanted to. And so this was my first foray into like a Indian team. And Mayank is obviously well connected. He's biked a lot in India, and so that was
yeah.
really nice.
And
Uh,
he was in Canada at the time, so he would have
mhm.
he's in the probably not the same time zone, but he would have
No,
had more
of
access
course
to
not.
you, and also very well aware of who is doing what in Zwift because of his
Yeah,
experience. So he approached you, and you were thrilled with this opportunity, so you got got on.
absolutely, absolutely. I was very happy, and I wanted to be a part of it from the
Yeah,
as much as I could. And so
yeah.
that was
Yeah,
really
that's
nice.
awesome. So now, just to give you perspective, we started with 10, and now ISRT is more than 150 strong on Discord, and on Zwift Power, there's probably more people who are associating themselves with ISRT,
Yeah,
which is probably the biggest. I don't want to say team; it's more of a platform for developing Indian e-racers.
yeah,
Not really a team. When you think of a team, it's like cliche, people think, oh, it's they are, we don't want to join them. But this is more of a, we are doing a lot of grassroots development with helping people, uh, uh, everyone from D onwards. We are helping everyone, and mostly through team time trials. Participating in WTRL races every week. Um, but Mayank also hosts every month, at least once every month, a time trial, an individual time trial that's anywhere from 3 hours to 6 hours, and people can participate. So it's great that people are always looking. I mean, even in India right now, lockdown, this whole ISRT and their events have really made people look forward to something and train for something. So
yeah.
it's amazing to be part of something like this. I guess we are sort of making history, really.
Yeah.
um,
And we're trying to also just generally like promote it, like promote cycling on Zwift as much as we could, cycling outside too. Sure,
hmm.
like the more people on bikes, the better it is. The more it's always the
I mean,
mantra.
just to think of it, it's crazy. I mean, pandemic, we have to invent so much, and this is just a natural product of, I think across any kind of anything in life, you would have probably need to reinvent, your career, your obviously, and your sports. And this was part of that reinvention, of the ISRT thing, how it began. Um, and so now, Giant, you're fully or not? Are you? Would you say you're fully invested with ISRT, or are you still doing stuff for Penvelo? How do you see your
It's
role? I mean, talk about your role at ISRT. What do you like to
yeah,
do? What do you enjoy doing right now
yeah.
with ISRT?
So I do a couple of things. I'm the main ride leader for the group ride, which is every Monday, uh,
Okay.
7 a.m. IST, if anyone's interested. And yeah, so I lead the ride, organize some little mini races or efforts in between that
Mhm.
people can do to keep it interesting. Outside of that, I do some live Zwift coaching. Over the 140-ish races that I've done, there's obviously a lot of experience that I can uh, pull upon and try and give to people who are new to racing or
Yeah.
just aren't as experienced. There's lots of like little tips and tricks that you learn that you want to share
Yeah.
as much as possible.
And this is
So,
what Giant is doing is great. Like, I think I watched the last live streamed coaching video of Giant where so ISRT holds now an official weekly race called the Tandoori race for all categories. And someone approached him. I think his name is Surya, if I'm not
so
wrong.
yeah,
This guy doesn't. He didn't even know you before
yeah,
this, and he requested you to coach him for this race, and you jumped on and you live coached him and you put it up on YouTube. I actually watched it, and I think everyone got to watch it. Just the amount of you know uh, devotion you need to sit there with someone for an hour and walk him through how this is going to go, and it's something. Uh, why
it's
I
fun.
guess yeah, it's fun because I mean, unless you had a passion, you wouldn't be sitting in front of a computer for 1 hour
Yeah,
and doing this.
that's
So that's great. But I mean, for people who are more into conventional in real life racing, it's almost like sitting in a team car and
mhm,
lowering a window and telling the rider, okay, this is strategy, do this, do this, do this. It doesn't happen a lot. Those Most people don't get
yeah,
that opportunity, but here with Swift, you can get that, which is amazing. And so I can see
yeah,
how you enjoy why you
yeah.
enjoy this. But yeah,
I
people
feel
folks, I
very
mean,
professional, but it's
yeah, and there's lots of room to develop and take it more professional, I guess. But
yeah,
this is for something for people out there who want to Zwift and want to race. If you're racers, and you want some guidance, Giant is your guy. So
yes, please, please.
you'll
I
you'll
love this. So
you'll probably need to join ISRT, uh,
yeah,
but then that's just the little gateway, if you want to call it, to get access to Giant. Um,
and not just to me, but to other racers and the wealth of information that uh, the team as a whole has sort of garnered now, whether it's TTTs or whether it's training
abs-
tips or things like that. It's
Absolutely, absolutely. We're not sitting on WhatsApp and having all our little WhatsApp groups. There is a proper Discord platform where all these discussions happen, all the events are being shared, and so on. So it's amazing. I think everyone can check it out. But anyway, put the focus back on you, Giant.
yeah,
So you've done 3 seasons of Zwift Racing League,
yeah.
um, and now you've gotten vaccinated. Now things are opening up in your area. Um, y- y- are you
Yeah.
interested to get back into real life cycling
Oh yeah.
and
Oh
racing?
yeah. That's what I've been doing more recently is more
Mm.
outdoor racing. Now that ZRL and all of those things have finished, I can spend a little more time uh,
Yeah.
racing outside. And yeah, we're very lucky in California where we have over like I don't know 67% people being fully vaccinated, um, and they're allowing bike races to happen.
Hmm.
I did a couple of criteriums and road races earlier. My most recent race was in Oregon, which was a stage race, which was super fun. I'd never done
Okay.
a stage race before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and so that was 3 days, 4 stages. Uh,
How did you do?
it include I came in second GC in my category, so that was super fun.
So this is a
Like,
USA cycling or sanctioned race, yeah.
yeah,
So
exactly.
so what? I mean, you're probably not a cat one, are you? A cat one?
No, 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 not quite. So I'm still the at the lowest category, Cat 4. Oh, Cat 5 is no
Yeah.
novice. Cat 4 is like the
Yeah.
first one that you fall
Yeah.
after you
No, I
start doing
mean
the
there are
big
even
races.
a lot of people with FTPs and 250 range in Cat
Yeah,
4 also.
yeah,
It's pretty competitive.
yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to get my upgrade points so I can get the Cat 3. And I think that's a little bit more where I belong. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I feel a little bit like I'm sandbagging the Cat 4s right now.
Yeah, I
But
think so too. I think you're a proper Cat 3. That's what my feeling is.
yeah,
But I'm not again. I've only a very basic idea of how USA cycling ranking system works. I think it's does it also have is it kind of similar like Zwift where you have to accumulate experience with certain high profile races and then you can some
yeah,
because some people climb up very quickly. I think that's based on their results.
yeah.
Uh,
It's
it's
so
kind of like
it's
that, yeah.
Yeah, so actually upgrading categories themselves is purely based on results. So around like top, depending on how big the field is, either top 10 or top 5 get points. So you really have to be at the pointy end of the races to move up
Mm-hmm.
the categories.
Mm-hmm.
They have a ranking system very similar to Zwift, where the more you race with faster people, the
Mm-hmm.
quicker your ranking will go down. So
Mm-hmm.
right now my ranking is now very good because I'm
Sure.
racing Cat 4 and 5. Hopefully I can build upon that, get better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Next, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after that, I'm doing 2 more races, and hopefully by the end of that, I'll have enough points to upgrade.
Yeah, I mean things are opening up now, so you'll see more opportunity to go out and spread your wings a little bit. Um, so yeah, I'm sure that'll come. But that's good to know you're back in doing real life racing, and the
Yeah,
situation is safe there where you live. Giant, you also told me that you're gonna be traveling to Berlin on your first assignment.
yeah,
Your we didn't touch upon your actual research. So do you want to
mhm.
talk us through your what kind of what's the field you're working in within aerospace?
Aerospace. Yeah,
I mean, you shared with me your thesis. I had a little bit of it, and understand it's a lot to do with simulation and simulation during the design process and
yeah.
optimization stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what's all this about?
Yeah. Uh, so my degree is in aerospace engineering, and specifically, I work with aircraft design. Uh, and my thesis itself was on performing flight certification, but purely through analysis. So
Mm,
can we certify aircraft to fly based on the simulations that we do? Um, that involved sort of figuring out what are the uncertainties in these simulations and how do we
mm.
account for them? How
Yeah.
do we make them better? How can we combine different levels of simulations to get better information? And that was my thesis. Um, and I finished that, submitted it, I don't know, like a month ago, and defended about a month ago, which is very
Wow.
exciting. Yeah. Uh, and so yes, now the next step is my job, which I'm accepted a position with this place called the International Council on Clean Transportation,
Hmm.
ICCT, and I'm going to be working with their aviation team on sort of imagining what uh, electric or hydrogen powered aircraft look like in, for example, 2050. And how do we get
Wow.
there? What
Hmm.
kind of policy decisions would help us get there faster?
Hmm.
Whether we can get there. So there's a little bit of feasibility studies and things like that.
Sure.
So, and that's going to be in Berlin. So
That's amazing. So you're going to be a futurist and a lot of research work for things that will probably happen 20, 30 years down the line.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
ICCT,
hopefully,
by the way, is quite famous for that whole Volkswagen scandal where they tested a few cars, I think, in Europe and found they were
yeah,
something odd with tailpipe emissions.
yeah. They
But
found that, yeah, Volkswagen was cheating on their smog tests. That was
but
a
I
huge
mean
thing.
that was a huge thing, yeah. And well, I didn't know that ICCT had a lot of other things going on. I thought it was just automobiles, but cool.
Mm.
That's
Yeah, so actually, this aviation team is I'm the fourth person on this team, so it's very
ah
small,
yeah.
and we're trying to grow it. So,
So the research grants are coming from what, the government?
so it's like 70% private foundations, like
Okay,
the Hewitt Packard Foundation or
okay,
the Aspen Foundation. There's
sure.
a couple of these philanthropic organizations that fund it, and then
Hmm,
about
hmm.
30% from governments. They're looking for
Your
specific
program
policies.
is well funded, and
Yes.
you are you are all set to go to Berlin. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's and but you'll be closer to family. That's cool.
Yeah. And now I'll be racing Zwift in the European leagues, so I'm gonna get
Yeah,
nicely humbled.
this is a proper Zwift racer. He's thinking about which league he can join in the next.
Oh, yeah, that
But
was that was one of my most humbling experiences. Like I
Mhm.
was flying pretty high, doing well in this Zwift racing league with my team and getting my ranking low, and then I did this. There was a ceramic speed organized race where only the top 100 would qualify. It was like a series, so each race, like the top how many ever qualified for the next race. So the first race, there were like I don't know, like 1,500 A racers. And we were like, yeah, me and one of the Penvelo guys that I was racing with, like, yeah, we'd be happy if we come, like, if we qualify. I think we should be able to qualify. That did not happen. Like, we
Mm,
had to progressively change our target to be
yeah,
lower and lower. And I think in the end, we ended up like 200 and something. And we are like, oh, that was good effort.
yeah.
But
Lot of competitive Zwift races in Germany for
there's,
sure. But there
yeah,
are a few very good Indian endurance athletes also operating there. Triathletes, at least I know that. So
oh,
I'll be happy to connect you with them.
yes.
Sujay, have you heard of Sujay? Sujay
I
Shalavadi. So
I think
he's
I've seen his.
yeah. So Sujay, I've interviewed him. He was on the show previously. So
Okay,
I'll be
I'll go
happy to
look at it
share
then.
that that whole interview. But he's doing a lot of training, and he's like I think sub 420 half Ironman. Yeah. So I think now he's putting his efforts attention into the full, totally different ball game. So yeah, on Strava you'll see him doing like every weekend putting in like 30-kilometer runs and stuff. So he's training like yeah, his butt off for something. I
That's
just don't know
amazing.
what it is. But yeah, we'll be happy to. I mean, if you guys will be close by or something, we'll be happy to put you in touch with him. But I don't think he's much into Zwift though, so I don't know if
That's
he'll
fine.
catch your drift or not. um,
Okay.
very nice, Jayant. I really wish you all the best. When did you say you were leaving? Um,
End of August, so in about
and
eight
wow.
weeks.
Okay. So, but you'll be, I mean, the beauty of ISRT, you'll be still associated with them, uh,
Yeah,
regardless of
I'll
where you
still be
are. Just
I'll still be able to
your
do.
time zone will change, but you'll still be online at some point.
Yes,
Maybe
yes,
just not as much now because you'll have a full-time job.
yes.
But that's great. That's great, Jan. That's a good overview. Unfortunately, we are hitting that time ceiling, but
Hmm.
I guess let's end this with something positive that viewers can take away. So lockdown has COVID has changed everything back in India, and a lot of people are just lost about what to do, and um, they have no mentors that they have access to. What would you tell these people? I mean, we all gone through the same experience.
Yeah.
Is there something that you can share to maybe put that silver lining, uh, especially for a cyclist? I mean, not talking about
Yeah,
other sports here, but cycling.
yeah. No, I mean, have. I've been fortunate that I'm in the US and I haven't had the harrowing experience of what was
Mm.
May in India, and
Mm-hmm.
that was difficult. How it that was difficult for me from the outside looking in. I can't imagine what it was for people who are living it every day. But I mean, for cyclists, cycling is usually a way to escape from all the things that are
Mm-hmm.
going on in your life, um, and specifically, it's the summer in India. It's hard to go outside. Zwift is
Mm-hmm.
it's more than what you would imagine it to be,
Mm.
um, especially when you are in a group with a group of people. You're on Discord. You're able to communicate. It is really just like a wonderful community to be able to talk to people, feel like you're going on a ride outside with friends, but from the safety of your own home. So,
Uh,
I mean, if you
it's yeah.
haven't tried it, I would definitely try it.
What Giant's trying to say is, of course, it's not something that it's not a cup of tea for everyone, but there's a lot more opportunity that might open if you tried this online um, mode of cycling and competing, and just try it. And there's a big community that's growing, a lot of friends to be made. So try it. Unlike real cycling, where you got to go out hard, and it'd probably be difficult to find friends in your area and then also travel to races. Here, none of that matters. You're online
Yeah.
and you can get onto Zwift like in five minutes, and you're riding and racing with people.
It's good
So
motivation. Yeah.
yeah, great motivation. So on that thought, guys, yeah, let's make your goals. But this is a very nice way to stay motivated and keep your fitness up through these hard times. Giant, it was a great pleasure to talk to you,
Yeah.
and
Always.
we will obviously keep chatting and Zwifting. But
Yes.
yeah, absolutely, the lovely uh, things you're doing for Indian e-cycling, and we hope you continue your efforts in this regard. And yeah, with this new job, maybe you need an assistant, but I'm sure we'll get the next crop of people who are going to be inspired with this YouTube talk and want to go do similar things. So all the best to you,
Hopefully.
Jayant. It
Yeah.
was a pleasure
Yeah.
talking to you.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.